Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. You're watching Yes.
Hey everybody, it is great to have you with us today on Yes, streaming on the Yes app and pinstripebowl.com for today's press conference covering the two teams that will be playing in this year's Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Is Bob Lorenz and Executive Director Mark Holtzman with you in studio. We will be joined shortly by the athletic directors and head coaches of the two teams going head-to-head Thursday, December 28th at 2:15 on ESPN. Rutgers against Miami. Mark, take us through the selection process because I know you had a lot of good teams in contention.
Sure. Well, thanks, Bob. First of all, we've wanted Rutgers in the game for many years. They haven't been in our bowl game for a number of years. And it's great that Coach Schiano is back. They're qualifying for a bowl game, and we had our eyes on them for a long time, for many years. Miami has played in our bowl game once before. It was very successful. And since the beginning of the year, when it looked like Coach Cristobal had really turned the program around, we really wanted Miami to play as well. They were our first pick on the other side. And it doesn't always work out the way you want it in life, but this time it did. And we're actually got both of them, and we're very excited to have both of them. I want to first of all welcome the head coaches who are on this today on with us, as well as the athletic directors. The head coaches, Greg Schiano from Rutgers, Mario Cristobal from Miami, and the athletic directors, Pat Hobbs from Rutgers, and Dan Radakovich from Miami. It's great to be on board with you, and we look forward to a terrific month and a terrific game. Believe it or not, Bob, it's the 13th year of the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Hard to believe, hard to believe. And I wanted to thank, of course, first of all, the Steinbrenner family. I mean, for those of you that don't know, George Steinbrenner in his early years was an assistant head coach at both Purdue and Northwestern. And after baseball, his first love was college football. And he's smiling today that this bowl has grown the way it's grown. And we appreciate the support of his entire family in considering this tradition. Then, of course, team president Randy Levine. This game could not have started without Randy and could not continue without Randy. He's there to discuss it with me every day. He supports every initiative. And this game could not have gone to the heights that it's gone to today if it wasn't for Randy. Then, of course, our title sponsor, Bad Boy Mowers, wonderful title sponsor, perfect fit with what we're trying to do. And, of course, our television partner, ESPN. They've been with us since the beginning and promote this game heavily. Yankee Stadium's all about history, Bob. I mean, we've had so many great sports events over the last 100 years at Yankee Stadium. It's an iconic stadium throughout the world. And both schools, believe it or not, both Miami and Rutgers, have been part of that history. I mean, Rutgers has played in our bowl now. This will be their third time in our bowl. Previously, they played against Iowa State, big win. Had a close game against Notre Dame, and now they're back. Coach Schiano's also won a regular season game at Yankee Stadium, so they're 2-1. And Miami played Wisconsin. They were here 5 or 6 years ago. So it's great to have them back. And it seems like everything we do at Yankee Stadium, there's so many storylines that really make the game very special. I mean, first of all, the storyline with Mario Cristobal and Greg Schiano. A lot of coaches go way back, and some of the coaches are good friends. I mean, Coach Cristobal and Coach Schiano met in the late 1990s on Butch Davis's staff with the Miami Hurricanes. They obviously became close friends, and from there, obviously, they went on to a lot of success. Coach Schiano being hired by Rutgers as, I believe, at that time, the youngest Division I coach in the country, and Coach Cristobal going on to head coaching at FIU, Temple, Oregon, and now he's back at his alma mater, Miami. And it's really a great story. And, Coach Schiano, there's a personal relationship going way back. He's been a close friend of the Yankee organization. He was at Rutgers once for a while, brought the program back to prominence. They went through some hard times. Then Coach Schiano's back, and wouldn't you know it, within a few years, they're back in prominence again. And it wasn't easy. I mean, they had apparently the second toughest schedule in all Division I this year, yet they were still able to qualify for a bowl game. And Coach Schiano also would tell me there's a personal connection. When he was younger, he used to do a lot with his father, Barry. And they were at a lot of the Yankee playoff games with Reggie Jackson and Thurman Munson, and those are some of the fondest memories he spent, with his dad. So, there's a real connection there with Coach. And also, Coach was hired actually by Bob Mulcahy, the old athletic director at Rutgers. And Bob also was on the staff of the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl for many years and became a close friend and confidant of mine as he was with Coach Schiano. So there's a lot of complementary stuff there. And Coach Cristobal, I mean, he's pure Miami. I mean, he was on the '89 and '91 championship teams of the Hurricanes, and obviously he coached under Coach Schiano at Rutgers. And his team, you're talking a quality team. They finished strong, okay? They were at one point ranked up as high as 17 in the country this year, and were also in the top 25 for a while. So Miami's done very well, and we were following them the whole year. And of course, the players. I mean, what a history on both sides. I mean, the Miami players might have gotten, more notoriety in the NFL. Players like Vinny Testaverde, Bernie Kosar. Remember those from our day?
Absolutely.
Warren Sapp. They've had some terrific players. Michael Irvin. And then you look at Rutgers, and I think the embodiment of Rutgers is the guy we just watched on Monday Night Football, Isaiah Pacheco. He just keeps chopping. He was a low draft pick, and the guy has an incredible work ethic, Rutgers graduate, and look at him now. He's one of the best receivers, best running backs in college football, and I think he credits a lot of that to what Coach Schiano did for him. And of course, there are a lot of other. Rutgers has had many graduates go on to play in the NFL. Our good friend Marco Battaglia, Sanu, Brian Leonard, Devin McCourty. So Rutgers has done very well, in the NFL too. And currently, you want to have star players in the game, and both schools had some players this year that really stood out. And I'd just like to acknowledge a few of them. On the Miami side, they had maybe one of the top receiving tandems in the country in Xavier Estepro and Jacoby George. Great story. And then in addition to that, there's a very special story. They have a quarterback who's going to be starting this game, and he was an all-city and all-state player at Cardinal Hayes High School. If that sounds familiar, it's in the Bronx, New York, on the Grand Concourse. And just recently, a few days ago, and kudos to Cardinal Hayes, they won the City and State Catholic School Championship. And he's going to be playing in that game, and they have high hopes for him. He could be one of the top quarterbacks in the nation next year. And it's going to be quite a story that he's coming back to play on the turf, just a few miles from where he went to high school. Pretty good. And on the Rutgers side, you have the #1 rusher in the entire Big Ten, Kyle Monange. #1, and that's an accomplishment. You got some pretty good running backs, in the Big Ten. And then at quarterback, I've been watching him because I live in New Jersey, and I've been watching him mature. Gavin Wimsett's come a long way. I mean, he's a dual threat, both as a runner and a passer. And fans should be looking to watch him too. So there's going to be star power in the game as well. And it's really going to provide for what I think is a terrific matchup and one of the more compelling Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowls than we've had in a while.
Well, it's going to be exciting. You've set the table for us. Now let's bring in some of the dignitaries that are with us, and we're going to start with Miami's Vice President and Athletic Director, Dan Radakovich. And, Dan, I know you have to leave sunny and 75 in Miami, but what does this mean to you to be playing in this Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl?
Bob, thank you. And, Mark, it's great to see you again. As we start this journey to the Bad Boy Mower Pinstripe Bowl, University of Miami is delighted to be a part of it, and we're looking forward to spending that time between Christmas and New Year's in New York. But it's been a good operation thus far, and the guys inside the organization, Mark, and say as he said, thank you to Randy. I want to do the same for the invitation on Sunday. we're just delighted to be a part of this and looking forward to getting there and putting on a great football game against the Rutgers University.
Dan, thank you for that. We're going to now get to your head coach, Mario Cristobal. And Mario, there is that great connection besides just Rutgers against Miami. Greg Schiano on the other side, who, of course, you were a coach with. What does it mean for you to take this Miami team and continue to rebuild that bowl pedigree for Miami?
Well, first and foremost, just honored to be a part of this bowl game, and everyone that was involved in granting us this opportunity. Really grateful to them. With Coach Schiano, obviously, he gave me my start. Forever grateful to him. Was the best mentor I've had in this business, and always a great friend. I know on game day we'll be trying to knock each other out, but aside from that, certainly him and his family. From the moment I got in the coaching industry, he was the reason why it was able to actually happen. For our team, we're growing, and we're growing fast and developing and progressing. Certainly, it was a priority to get Miami back on track and bringing in some great recruiting classes, developing our current players. And there's been a lot of progress in that direction over the course of the last 18 months, 24 months. And we look forward to continuing that. And certainly starts with a great opportunity against a great football team like Rutgers. And we're all looking forward to it.
Mario, thank you. We'll hear from you again in just a bit. Now to the Rutgers side of things and their athletic director, Pat Hobbs. And Pat, Rutgers back in the Pinstripe Bowl and having that connection with Yankee Stadium. What do you think about this matchup coming up?
We couldn't be more excited. And I grew up here in New Jersey. And like Greg, pretty early in life, started going to Yankee games, lifelong Yankee fan. Even had the pleasure to throw out a first pitch once, which was a lot of fun. And so to be part of this, Mark, thank you. 8 years ago when I took this job, Mark said, we want to get you back to the Pinstripe Bowl. So it took a little longer than we wanted, but we're here. And so I thank the Yankee organization, and particularly Randy Levine and the Steinbrenner family. I did not know that about George's past in terms of football coaching. It doesn't surprise me the way you ran the Yankees sometimes. You named some of those players. And I think about, again, some of those great moments on the baseball side in Yankee Stadium. I was fortunate to be at Don Mattingly's first playoff game, which was pretty fun. And the stadium was actually shaking. But so to be there and to be part of football is hugely exciting. I want to extend my congratulations to the University of Miami, to Dan Radakovich and to Coach Cristobal. Listen, I know the job that you took over, Coach, and how hard that is. And so we're really looking forward to a great contest on December 28th. And then Coach Schiano, some people say he's Greg Schiano 2.0. I always say he's Greg Schiano 4.0. It's that sort of developed. And 4 years now watching the culture that he's developed, how he's built this program, the young men in the program. It's a testament to him, the staff that he's put together, to the great young kids that compete for us. So to be in this bowl game is just incredibly exciting. Our fans aren't very far away, so we're hoping get a little home field advantage if we can, as we welcome and expect the Hurricanes to come up full force from Miami. So we're very, very excited. And again, I should mention sponsors are incredibly important. So thank you to Bad Boy Mowers as well. Yeah, just excited and can't wait to the 28th.
Well, Pat, it's great that you have that personal connection with not only this bowl game, but Yankee Stadium as well. And another guy who has that, Greg Schiano, the head coach of Rutgers. Greg, what does it mean to you to be back in this bowl game?
Well, first off, I want to thank the Yankee organization and Bad Boy Mower for the opportunity to get back to a bowl game. It's really exciting for us. It is a testament to the work that the players put in. They're the ones who get us there. And coaches, we try to direct and help. My whole thing is equip and inspire. And you got to have the right guys that want to be equipped and want to be inspired, and we do. So my congratulations is out to them, to the University of Miami. What a great opponent to have in the bowl game. And again, Mario said it. Now, I'm in bad shape. He said we're gonna knock each other out. If you've ever seen Mario and you've ever seen him train, I'm not having any chance of knocking him out. So I'm in big trouble right now. But we're gonna have some fun, and it's gonna be a great contest, and two really good programs that I think are on the rise. on their way back, and it should be real exciting. And you're right, there's so many connections to Yankee Stadium, to the Yankees. Growing up, my late father, we used to watch the Yankee games in my basement. I can remember a big bag of peanuts watching the Yankee game. And then when having the opportunity to be at the game when Reggie hit the 3 homers, 3 first pitch homers. Literally, when Pat said the stadium was shaking, the stadium was shaking. And we were about 6 rows from the top, so it would have been a big fall. But really some great memories. And to be able to play in such a prestigious bowl game in our backyard is certainly a bonus. But again, I want to congratulate everyone involved. And I can remember going to the first Pinstripe Bowl back when I was here, I think it was 2011. And what a great experience our players, our coaches, our families, our fans, everybody had. So I'm looking forward to it. Can't wait to get started.
Greg, thank you for that. We're going to hear from the coaches and ADs coming up in our Q&A segment. Mark, I do want to ask you, and I love asking all the time, it's such an experience coming to New York around the holidays. What's in store for the players and the coaches? Well, it's a lot of the same stuff that's been so special and so successful. But we have, we're the Yankees, and we always add 1 or 2 new twists. One new twist that we're going to have is there's actually going to be a field goal contest at halftime, where there's going to be 1 representative, 1 kid from Rutgers, that Rutgers picks, and 1 kid from Miami, and they're going to compete for scholarship money funded by Bad Boy Mowers. And it's a significant amount. They both get $5,000 just for appearing. Then they get their choice of where they want to kick the field goal from. They can kick it from the 5-yard line and potentially make $10,000. They could go from the 10-yard line and potentially make $20,000. Then if they really feel adventurous, they can kick from the 20-yard line and make $35,000. So that... Something tells me you're going for the long field goal. Is that right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Go for it all. Why not?
I think both schools teach their kids to go for it, and I think the kids are going to go for it. But it'll be exciting. I mean, the kids will be behind it in the sections and everything, rooting for their own kids to do it. And I hope they both do it. I mean, everyone's a winner here because the kids get something. Yeah. And Bad Boy Mowers came up with the idea, and I give them a lot of credit.
Well, it's something to look forward to at halftime. Besides the game, and you mentioned some of the stars that are playing this game, and you heard from both Greg and Mario about how exciting that sort of personal connection is, and they're not physically going to beat up on each other, but they want their teams to do that and win the game, right?
It sounds like if they tried to, Mario would win, I guess, but maybe
is that what you got?
I'll discuss that with Greg later. But no, we're going to do all the fun stuff and all the charity stuff that makes our bowl special. I mean, we're going to have the appearance at the kids' pediatric area at Memorial Sloan Kettering. I mean, we're going to do the chalk talk at Yankee Stadium for the Kips Boys and Girls Club. And then we're going to all the old staples. On Christmas night, we're taking all the kids and the families to Radio City Music Hall. That's obviously a very special evening. You get to see the iconic Rockettes. We're ringing the bell to Stock Exchange. There are only about 200 million people worldwide who see the ringing of the bell of the Stock Exchange, and we're going to bring both coaches, athletic directors, and some team captains there to ring the bell. It's great exposure for the players. It's great exposure for the schools. Just not only the athletic programs and the football teams, but the schools as a brand to get that kind of exposure throughout the world and on CNBC. Then, of course, we're going to One World Observatory. Every year, we want this to be educational for the kids too. So we take them to the 9/11 Memorial because with some of the kids, it's the first time they've ever been to New York City. Yeah. And we think it's very important, even though, believe it or not, most of these kids were not born when 9/11 occurred. Hard to believe that the years have gone on so quickly, but we're going to take them there too. The night before the game, the Empire State Building is going to be lit up in the 2 schools' colors. And then we're doing something a little new at a place called Spin in Midtown. We're taking both schools, and there's going to be a little ping pong contest and a few other athletic contests. But we're making everything close, so you can walk. So the kids can walk.
That's important.
So, well, we've learned. We tried to make some improvements over the years. So, and then of course we're going to take the wives. We do a lot of stuff for the wives. We're taking them for a special lunch at Tavern on the Green. So, and once again, There's going to be very nice gift bags for everyone. So we make it special, and I think one of the things which really separates us from a lot of bowls is all the stuff we do for the families and the wives, and we will continue to do that. So, you know, we're looking forward to a great week. Once again, we have the Sheraton and the Hilton, you know, as our two hotels, you know, two iconic New York hotels. And, you know, we're very excited. It's going to be a special week.
That is a full week, but again, it all comes to a head Thursday, the 28th, 2:15 on ESPN, the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, Rutgers against Miami. We will take a quick break here on Yes, the Yes app, and pinstripebowl.com. And when we come back, more with Mark, a Q&A with the ADs and head coaches as they play for that Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl trophy. Stick around. How are you? It's Bob. Michael Margolis, you there?
I am here.
Oh, good.
Thank you, Bob. Can you hear me?
Yeah, gotcha. Ready to come to you in a couple minutes. Here we go.
Excellent. Just again, very briefly for media on the call, if you are an attendee, please accept the promotion.
Another reminder, lock it in Thursday, December 28th at 2:15 at Yankee Stadium. It will be Rutgers against Miami in the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl, the latest edition. It's good to have you back. Let's get it to the head of media relations, Michael Margolis. He's standing by with some reporters that have questions for the athletic directors, the head coaches, and potentially Mark as well. Michael, take it away.
Bob, thank you very much. We will kick it off with Bruce Beck from WNBC, Channel 4 in New York.
Thank you, Michael. Mark talked about Yankee Stadium in New York, but I wanted to ask Greg and Mario, what is the magic of this experience for your programs, New York City during the holiday season, Yankee Stadium? Greg?
Well, Bruce, I think you know it'll be a great time for our families, for our players, for our staff, for everybody that's involved in the game time. There's no place like New York around the Christmas holiday. And then throw in the great part of playing in such a great bowl game. It doesn't get a lot better than that. So we're certainly looking forward to it. And, you know, when you have an opponent like the University of Miami, it's icing on the cake.
Hey, Mario.
I echo Coach Schiano's sentiments. And, you know, for our players, it's such a different and new experience. You know, they obviously know the legendary status of where we'll be playing at and the caliber of opponent, great opponent that we have in Rutgers. We have a couple players from the Northeast as well. So all in all, everyone, when it was announced, the excitement was awesome in our place. So for them, a great experience, another opportunity to play game number 13. All in all, just an incredible opportunity.
Thank you very much. We'll go to Adam Lichtenstein from the South Florida Sun Sentinel.
Sorry
Adam,
about that. Yeah.
go.
Hi, Mario. Hope you're doing well. So far, it looks like half dozen players from the team have gone into the portal. My question is, first, do you expect more players to go into the portal? And then among the players who have like announced for the NFL draft, Javion, LT, James Williams, do you know if they expect to play in the bowl game?
Well, I expect a handful of guys to go pro. We certainly have to keep supplementing our roster and finding ways to sign a certain amount of members to the 2024 class, both high school and through the portal. So hopefully we'll achieve that number and be able to make that room on our roster, and also find opportunities for guys on our roster to find a place that suits them and their future and their plan. So I think it's very fluid, and I think we have a really good plan for it, and happy for the guys coming in and wishing well for the guys that are on their way to another opportunity.
We'll take the next one from J.com.
Hi, coaches. I was hoping that you could answer a question about Rutgers running back Kyle Monungai, who leads the Big Ten in rushing. I specifically want to know what you think of his style and what makes him a special player.
Are you asking me or Mario?
Both of you. Yeah, I know you've answered this question before, Coach, but mostly Mario, if he's had the time to watch him.
I love being in the Northeast again, because in the Northeast, I'm Mario. Down in Miami, I'm Mario or Mario, but I'm back to being Mario, and I'm very excited about that. So, but what can you say about him? He does it all, an every down back. Power, speed, tremendous balance, runs behind his pads, excellent in protection, catches the ball really well. You can tell that he certainly ignites that offense. Yards after contact, you're not bringing him down. He makes the first guy miss. Just very, very natural football player. Obviously, I'm sure he's a tremendous team leader, and certainly one of the best in the country.
We'll take the next one from Mike Cohen at Fox Sports New Jersey.
All right. This is a question to both Coach Schiano and also Pat Hobbs. If you could just both speak about the opportunity before the program. You've both spoken about the steady improvement and return to prominence for Rutgers football, and just speak about how big this is going to be for the program.
Want me to go
Pat,
first?
Why don't you go ahead, Pat?
Sure. Listen, it's like the next step, right? So when Coach came back, the program obviously had tremendous challenges, and as Coach says, like, this is a developmental program, so it's getting really good young men in here, building them up and watching their growth, not just athletically, but their maturity and all those things are really important. So this was a really big step this year for our program, and couldn't be happier for the young men who are in our program. So we're building, right? As Coach says, keep chopping. And I was there when Coach came back, and he explained what that meant, and sort of the focus that you have to bring every day. And that's where we are now. We're a program with focus. We're a program with leadership in the locker room. Really, really fine young men. The number that I get to talk to them before games sometimes, but always after the game. And win or lose, they're just unbelievable. And so now our fans are really excited. I think we're competitive. Even in the games that we lost this year, fans saw we're a really competitive program. We believe we can beat anybody in the country. And look, you got a tremendous opponent who's very similar, I think, in the way Mario builds his program as well. So looking forward to the contest. It's another step as we build this program back to the same prominence that Greg had it when he was here the first time.
Coach?
Yeah, I think Pat really described it well. We got a lot of young men in our program that are fully committed to building something special in New Jersey at Rutgers. And we don't claim to want to be like everybody else. We try to do things that maybe are a little different, but they're unique to us. And I think our team, our staff, our fans, we embrace that. So it's exciting. It's as Pat said, it's a stop along the way. Up here in New Jersey, everybody goes on the Garden State Parkway, and every single mile there's a mile marker. And as I told the team, becoming bowl eligible, we're passing one of those mile markers. It's not our exit, and we'll keep cruising along. We got a great opponent in the University of Miami, which is going to be a great challenge. And I know how Mario Cristobal will prepare his team. They'll be tough. They'll be resilient. So it's going to be a knockdown, drag-out fight at Yankee Stadium, and that's fun. I think both our teams and both the staffs, that's kind of how we're built. So it should be an exciting game.
Thank you. We'll take the next one from Susan Miller-Degnan from the Miami Herald.
Hey, Mario. As far as Jacari Brown goes, what would you like to see from him in the bowl game? How difficult might it be for him when he hasn't played all season? And do you expect to see Jacari Brown back next season?
He's played a lot of football, throughout the course of his high school career. He's been playing football since he's been knee high. So we expect him to play his very best, and that's it. Nothing more and nothing less. He's excited about the opportunity. He'll be well prepared, and his only focus is this football game and this team. Nothing that's happened before, nothing after. So he has the confidence of his teammates and the entire coaching staff.
And Mario, as far as the transfer portal goes, you talked a little bit about it, but how, are you hoping to add more than, I guess, one quarterback from the portal? And do you feel like you're close to adding at least one?
Well, as you know, Susan, we don't discuss personnel stuff openly with the media. It's just not policy. We have a great plan in place. We have certainly built the roster in a short amount of time to the level and the expectation, the caliber of what Miami football should look like. And that being said, we will continue to do so, and we feel extremely confident that by the end of the recruiting cycle, we'll be exactly where we need to be.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
We'll take the next one from Christian Dyer from Rutgers Wire.
This one is for Coach Schiano. And Coach, just wanted to ask you, getting to this point, getting the program to where it is, made a little bit more of a difficult and challenge by the fact that you do play in a tough conference and tough division with the second toughest strength of schedule this year in the country. Is it more rewarding that the team is battle tested? And can you just speak to the challenges of kind of going through the grind that you did this year to get to this point and to now play a historic program in Miami?
Yeah, that's a great question, Christian. I mean, it is the Big Ten East, which will be dissolved after this year, and we'll have one big conference. But the Big Ten East, to me, was the hardest division in college football, the toughest division. And week in and week out, you're in a slugfest. But it really did help our team grow. And we had opportunities where Pat had mentioned it. We were really competitive in games that, quite honestly, before we weren't competitive. And so, again, that's another mile marker. We're a developmental program. We're gonna bring in quality young men who love football, and then we're gonna build them and build them and build them. And that's how we did it when we were here the first time, and that's how we're gonna do it this time. And it's a process. And I do think that when you play a schedule that is as challenging as the one we did, it definitely helps you grow. It speeds up your growth. And but you have to have resilient guys, or it can crush you. And it didn't. Our guys will, we were a little beat up at the end of the year, that's for sure. So we need this little break here to get well, and we will. And the young guys will get some valuable reps. And that's one of the things that's so important when you're building a program, to have the opportunity to get these practices for your young players initially, to get a lot of work. And then as you get closer to the game, for your established players then to really start to get into game mode. So it's an interesting process. It's one that our guys have not experienced. So I think it's really good for them to go through this.
We'll take the next one from Marcus Benjamin from Kings County.
This question is for first Coach Cristobal. Just wanted to ask about your relationship with Coach Schiano. You mentioned earlier that he was basically a mentor or is a mentor to you, and you're forever grateful. If you could kind of just explain that relationship that you have with Coach Schiano, and then Coach Schiano, if you could follow and just kind of, describe your relationship with Cristobal over the years and how that's developed.
He was, I had actually had the honor of picking him up at the airport when he was interviewing to be the defense coordinator at Miami. And instantly he was the hardest worker in the building. So it's someone I patterned my habits after, someone that you knew was a rising star in the profession. And when he got his opportunity at Rutgers, he afforded me the opportunity, which was a tremendous blessing and honor. Just always just found a way to teach. Because you know what, when you're a head coach and you're really, really busy, you sometimes forget one of your major obligations is to develop the people under you. And you always just found a way to push and challenge me to help me develop. Just really, I never held back, and I appreciated that. And whether it was, I was a South Florida kid, to be up in the Northeast and away that was new. That was different for me. And whether it be my family visiting, my brother coming into town and stopping, he was just always really gracious. And my mom, may she rest in peace, always, always, always would ask and appreciates Coach Schiano for everything that he always did for myself and the way he treated my family. But consummate professional, unbelievable grinder, teacher, and whatnot. I can't, I could go on and on and on, but certainly someone who I'll forever be indebted to for just about everything career-wise and beyond.
Next question goes to John Schwartz from Yankees Publications.
How you guys doing? This is for both coaches. Obviously, the focus right now is the game on the 28th, but when you look ahead to the 2024 season, what is your hope of what your teams will have gotten from this experience, both the off-field parts of it and also certainly the practices over the next 3 weeks?
I'll start with that. I think 2024 feels like a long way away, but it's going to be here upon us quickly. So our focus is obviously to get ready to go compete in this game. But these first practices at the beginning of our preparation are so important for the development of our younger players that haven't had a lot of opportunities, that haven't played very much in games. And we've had 2 practices and it's been great. And, I kind of harken back to what Mario was saying, the opportunity to be a teacher, when there isn't a game coming up on Saturday, to be able to stop the practice with the young players and really talk about, okay, this is what we're doing here. This is what we're trying to get accomplished. Some things that might seem to the older players, yeah, no kidding, coach, but to the younger players, they haven't heard it yet. They haven't seen it yet. So it's a great opportunity. And, the tough part is you're recruiting during that time, and it's the transfer portal and NIL and all the things that go into being a head coach. But to me, there's absolutely no other way to have it. As I've said to our staff, the month of December when you're bowl eligible is a grind, but it's one that if you're doing it, it means your program's going in the right direction.
No doubt, we feel the same way, and all focuses on this opportunity and everything that comes with it. And, you rarely have time with your players when there aren't a ton of academic obligations. As they wrap up final exams now, similar like they do at the end of the summer, you have their attention. So your practices, you're starting to see guys get opportunities that didn't happen throughout the course of the year. Guys go to the NFL, or some guys opt not to play, whatever it may be, or guys get in the portal. And you start to realize, these are guys that they might have been or seem like they were waiting their turn. They're good football players. Now they're going to get a chance to play and go out there and perform at a high level. And you want to make sure they get every ounce of what you have as a coach. It's also a great time for the team to spend time around each other, to understand that they've been playing football since they were knee high, and that football is supposed to be fun. And this is supposed to be a grind. It's supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be an opportunity to recognize, and always looking for progress. We just want to keep getting better and just keep the focus on us just continuing to progress towards what we want to be.
We'll go to Bobby Darin with 24/7 Sports.
This question is for Greg. You played in the Pinstripe Bowl before you left for the NFL. What do you remember most about that experience? And can you just talk about what really sticks out in your mind regarding that experience and game?
Well, first off, I remember it being a great experience for, like I said, everyone involved in the program, players, coaches, families, the Yankees just do an incredible job. I also remember we had a really challenging opponent in Iowa State, and it was a great game. I remember the end of it when we were awarded the trophy, and Eric LeGrand had just been injured the year before, and being able to recognize him. He was sitting up in the box, and being able to recognize him and acknowledge that meant a lot to me. And obviously, having no idea what the future held, it was really a special moment.
We'll take the next question from Anthony Fusilli from Rutgers Radio.
Hey, Greg. Just your thoughts about what it was like working down in Miami and how it helped you recruit the area. And Mario, the opposite. What was it like for you working at Rutgers? What do you remember and how it's helped you?
Well, I'll start. I owe a ton to Butch Davis, who hired me at the University of Miami. Mario reminds me that he picked me up. I forgot that. But I knew immediately when I met Mario that this was a future star. And I learned a ton about being a head football coach from Butch. He involved me in so many things that oftentimes you don't get involved in as a defensive coordinator or as an assistant coach. So it prepared me for the opportunity that when it came, I thought I was much better prepared than I would have been otherwise. But I do look back at the time meeting Mario in South Florida and knowing that I wanted to bring him with me. And it wasn't easy prying him out of there. I mean, you'd think it's a full-time job, but he was so close. He had and has one of the greatest families. I never got to meet his dad, but I heard so much about him from his brother Lou and from him, and then meeting his mother, just a tremendous woman. And we've kind of grown together, right? We've been through some tough times, some good times, and he's always a guy that I looked at. I knew when we got here, he was the best coach on my coaching staff, and he was whatever he was, 25 years old, 26 years old. I trust him blind, and there's not a lot of people that I trust in this world. And that, to me, is the biggest thing. And again, we're going to have to compete, and we compete in recruiting, and we compete in many ways, but I love him. He knows that. I can't wait to see his brother Lou. He's like family to me. And, I know my dad, who passed away this spring, he's looking down, and he's really excited for Mario, excited for Rutgers, excited for me. And in life, you meet people, you can probably count them on one hand, people that you truly trust, truly admire. Mario Cristobal is one of those guys. And he, truth be told, he laid a huge part of this foundation. You look back at what he did in the 3 years he was here, my goodness, he was relentless. And he was my partner. He was a guy that again, I trusted with anything. And now to be going against him, I was so proud as he became a head coach. And then he went out to Oregon, did a great job. And then to go back to the University of Miami, which I know he loves, right? I mean, that's who he is. The city of Miami, where he grew up, where his family is. And to be back there for him, it's very similar to me, to be back in New Jersey, where my family is, in an area that I love. So I'm so happy for him. It's going to be, in that time when we compete on the field, it is going to be special. But two great competitors, two great programs, and I just can't wait. And a lot of it, for me, started down at the University of Miami.
Well, I mean, Rutgers was an unbelievable experience. When Coach brought me up there, I didn't know anything. I just checked me into the embassy suites with a large pizza, a whole milk, a bottle, and said, "I'll see you at 5 a.m. tomorrow." And the work ethic, I learned work ethic to a different level from Coach Schiano. It was something that I think other people couldn't fathom. The detail that went into recruiting, the detail that went into game planning, drawing up first and second down football in the field zone versus the red zone and third down, and the details that went with it and how to teach it. He taught me how to teach. He even afforded me the opportunity to have a camera set up so I could learn and watch myself teach before I presented the next day to our players. He's a vocational teacher. This is not a job, or it's not just an occupation. This is like a way of life. And the way that Coach Schiano approached that job, that opportunity over there at Rutgers that brought me along, we all learned from him. That was an opportunity where it required a program to go from 1-11 to winning 3 games to 5 games to 10-win seasons, national prominence. It was absolutely incredible, and I was there for a small part of it, and I loved it. I loved the energy and the enthusiasm. the people in New Jersey. I have family in New Jersey and Union City, so that was a natural, fit up there with whatnot. And I could go on forever and ever, but the learning processes, the experiences, the people, to be part of what it truly is to build a program was invaluable. There's no way to ever receive an education like that, and was able to be a part of that in serving under Coach Schiano at Rutgers.
Guys, as we reestablish a solid connection with Michael Margolis, who's mediating this, let's get to Adam Lichtenstein next. Adam, what is your question?
Hi, my question's for Dan. Have you had a chance to review Charlie Baker's proposal that came out today regarding a new FBS subdivision where basically teams would be able to pay, or schools would be able to pay athletes directly through NIL, through trust funds for education and things like that? And if you haven't had a chance to review it, just what are your thoughts? And is Miami interested in that kind of NCAA setup?
Adam, thanks. I've had a brief opportunity to review it. It just came over slightly earlier than this call did. But in looking at it, there were some things and some themes that President Baker had talked about previously about giving more autonomy to the schools, especially the higher resource schools, to be able to control their own destiny. Whether it's being able to do that educational trust fund, but all the while making sure that we're abiding with Title IX at the same time, which is a very important circumstance. But I think that, being able to invest and have the schools have the opportunity to do this is really refreshing coming from the NCAA, because, for so many years it had been more of a least common denominator approach to how they put rules in. And I think this opportunity and the discourse that will happen, after, now that this is out front and we'll have opportunity to talk through it and move ahead, I think is going to be really good for college athletics. And we're excited to be a part of it. And we will continue to be at a high level involved in these conversations.
We'll go back to Susan Degnan at the Miami Herald.
Mario, with this time of year, with recruiting and signing day coming up, transfer portal, how tough is it to concentrate on bowl preparation? And how many practices can you fit in? How do you make that all work?
Look, and I'm glad that we're on here with Coach Schiano. One of the best things that he taught me was that anytime you have situations like this that arise, whether it be, and then this time period reflects it, right? January is the most difficult challenge, would be the most challenging time for head coaches. There's coaches to replace sometimes. There's players, like you mentioned, the portal and whatnot. But if you look at it for what it really is, every single one of these opportunities, whether it be a defection, someone you asked to move on, someone declaring for the draft, all it should be in everybody's mind is an opportunity to upgrade. That's what he taught me. That's how we look at it. So what I think was like an ominous cloud early, and when this whole portal and everything else came on, now it's an exciting time. In terms of focusing on that, I don't think it is. I mean, it's, you have 24 hours in a day and you use every hour that you possibly can. But I mean, that's, I don't think it's difficult. Is it challenging with the time constraints of being on the road and playing strings and automobiles? I get that. But I mean, we do this because we love it and we love everything that comes with it. So there's no complaining. We just attack it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
We have time for one or two more. We'll take the next one from Brian Fonseca at NJ.com.
Hey, this question's for Pat. Similar question that was just asked to Dan. Just if you've been able to review Charlie Baker's proposal and whatever thoughts you have on it, if you could share them.
Thanks, Brian. I've just taken a brief look at it. What I'll say is we need rules, right? We need a set of rules. We need to come up with a system that works. And this is a proposal, obviously, for the better resource schools. And so we'll take a look at it. Be interested to hear what our commissioner, Tony Petitti, thinks of it. One of the things that I love at what we're doing here at Rutgers, and I'm sure they're doing at Miami as well, is we work every day to see how do we help our student athletes? How do we provide for them in ways that grow them, and prepare them for life, both during football and after football. And there's a lot of attention on this. We've got a lot of different bills out there. We've got state involved in it. So I think if this is what kicks off the conversation of let's finally figure out the best way to move forward in a way that takes care of our student athletes very well, allows us to be competitive across our conferences, then it's all for the good. So I view it as a conversation starter, and so I'm glad he put something out.
And we'll take a final question from John Schwartz from Yankees Publications.
Hi, again, for both questions. You both talked about teaching and things like that. As you look to the experiences around New York, you were both working in the area, obviously, on September 11th. The players are going to be dealing with, these guys weren't alive, or if they were, they have no memories of that. What's that experience like of going to share that with the players in your team and share your own experiences from that day?
Well, I'll start. Mario was here with us, and I'll never forget it. It was an ominous day. We were game planning, and I was in the defensive room game planning, and one of the assistants stuck their head in and said a small plane hit one of the towers. And then we, 10, 12 minutes later, we knew there was no small plane. And because of where we were located, we were the first game to cancel for that weekend. And then obviously everything got canceled. But our players, there was a couple of our players that for some time couldn't locate their parents. And it was really scary. I remember getting everybody together as a team, and we had just gotten here. It was our first season. And the players wanted to go out because they didn't want to just sit around and look at each other. So we went out, even though we knew we weren't playing, we went out and practiced. And it was ominous because from our practice fields, you could see the smoke on the horizon. And, I think when you hearken back, it was such a different time. And our players, like you said, weren't born. So every anniversary of 9/11 that week, I always show a small video to our team, just, being that we are here in this location, and share it with them. And I'll do that again because I think it's great. I know we get to go to the memorial, and before we do that, I'll share that with our squad again, just to kind of inform them and educate them about exactly what happened that day. And I'll tell you what, I lost a lot of people that I know, from that tragic day, having grown up here in New Jersey, and so many people that worked in New York City. It leaves an indelible mark. We did something in the game against Syracuse a couple of years ago that was played on September 11th. We had a special uniform that commemorated all those that were lost in 9/11, and we were able to give those. We were able to reach, I think there was 37 Rutgers alums lost in 9/11. And we were able to reach, I think, 15 or 17 of them. And we were able to put their names on our helmet. And we gave one of the commemorative jerseys to each one of the families. And just to get back the responses, how much it meant to them. It was a very tough time. And as time goes on, certainly you move on in life. But I think for those people who lost family members, that was a special thing to receive that jersey. So yeah, there's still a lot of ties being here in the Northeast and being in New Jersey.
Yeah, I don't know if I can articulate the confusion, the feelings that came with that day, and the opportunity to have our team go down. And I spent a week there with my family, by the way, this past summer, and took my kids 12 and 13 down there, and it hit them as I never saw my kids react to anything as what they did when they saw the memorial and watched the videos and walked through the museum. So it's so important for our players to understand, the more recent events in our history, to understand what really goes on outside of our bubble, right? Our football bubble, what really goes on in the world. And when they see a person, in, like we did earlier this morning, our person that was helping us get here, someone that serves in the military, right? The importance of letting them know how grateful we are for their service, because what our generation has seen and has experienced certainly was, as what can you say? It's something that we hope to never ever see again, but it's the reality of the world. And our players need to understand that is a day in history that forever has to be, we have to remember and honor those that, unfortunately, fell that day, and that we keep them always in our hearts and our thoughts and prayers with their families.
Well, thank you, gentlemen, for joining us. We certainly appreciate it. We look forward to seeing you again Thursday, the 28th of December at 2:15 on ESPN. That will be the Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. Rutgers pitted against Miami. Again, gentlemen, thank you. Look forward to seeing you that week and certainly that day for the game. We'll take a quick break. Final thoughts with Executive Director Mark Holtzman coming up next.